So who the hell is Sanjay Gupta? Now, he's coming on tomorrow with a documentary on weed. And what it seems so far is that he has changed his mind on weed. He thinks that we're looking at the negative aspect, we should look at the positive aspects of weed. And he has confessed that he used weed in the past. Now, I'm telling you something here. As we move from here to the end of time, we can find people who have significant positions in America. We're going to make some announcements and support some positions that going to blow your mind away if you can't have any sense. But really and truly, they are placed in certain positions ready to destabilize and to create the paradigm shift and to bring us down to nothing. You see, he's from India, and he's a Hindu. And Hinduism, Islam, and Buddhism and all that kind of stuff, it's a different worldview to the West and Christianity. And this is what folks don't understand. We had the Beatles going down to India and coming up with all this Maharaj Yogi and all this yoga and all this kind of thing that people going on with. But let me tell you something. We in the West here do not believe in side bombing. We believe that life is sacred. And Hinduism, which he belongs to, doesn't believe that. They will burn themselves on the fire if the husband died, and they'll do a variety of things. And so, whereas that's his role to do a suicide bombing, but his role is now to come and tell us that weed is good. Now, he and there's another doctor called Deepak Chopra. Now, they might be qualified and competent in the areas that they're dealing with, but Deepak Chopra is trying to tell us that he could levitate. He could, he could go beyond the laws of gravity, and he could fly. He could get off the ground and so on, which is a kind of like voodoo he's bringing on to us. And I heard him teaching a class in Chicago once, and he was telling the students that if number one priority is to take care of the environment. Now these stupid guys are going to listen to him, but he's trying to corral jobs down to India. Because when we decide that we're not going to pollute our environment or find a cure or find a way to deal with the waste, we can just send it down to India and they're going to be making all the money over there. So, and I mean, look, India is a member of the Commonwealth just like my country. And I know there are students that work hard and do a lot more work than Americans. And see, this is the problem. America is the greatest nation, has the best education and research in the whole 9 yards. But folks are not studying nothing. When I tell some students, man, we get up in the morning like 3:30 to study, they just blow away with that. What? We don't study at all. Well, so people from India, people from Africa, and people from elsewhere coming out here and spending time to study, getting on top of the class, getting honors, going on to study, and then we're going to find now that now they have a position, now they have respect, and they have the qualification now to bring on the third world crap, like stupid stuff. And I'm saying that, as we move along, we can find more of them coming out saying some crazy stuff. And you see, you can't discriminate against people according to our constitution and so forth. But how do you protect yourself from these kind of nuts? Okay. Now, there's another one on CNN. He does financial work. I'm going to tell you what's happening. As I said earlier, they are placed in certain positions and they're aspiring for certain positions. And when the time is right, they're all coming out saying things that at the bottom line is that our economy, our country, our culture and everything can just be destroyed. Now, we can't forget that there was a guy from India, if I recall correctly, who said that he's an American, but he's not a Christian. He's a Hindu, and therefore this can't be a Christian nation because he's not a Christian. And so they went off and they changed that, and see the whole thing start cascading into a whole bunch of stupid stuff going on. Education is important with religion in education, or in other words, I went to religious schools and we pray, we study the Bible, we have faith in God, and He helps us because the fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom, knowledge, and understanding. Now, does Gupta have wisdom, knowledge, and understanding? Not from God, because he serves a different God. He serves one of them gods out in India over there, and we know that's Satanism. Okay, I mean, we just got to be honest with ourselves and look at things properly, because trying to be broad-minded, man, we're gonna destroy ourselves. Okay, and so here's confession to use weed is good and all this stuff. That's what he's trying to say. We need to look at it differently. I mean, look, they're saying that weed helps in a lot of medical conditions without the side effects of the synthetic drugs. But so if we were to synthesize the chemicals that are in marijuana, it would give you the same side effects, I guess. In that, what I'm trying to say is that although this is a natural occurring chemical, it still is a deadly chemical. It still has its effect. And in education, you have students coming over to you, and you realize that they just can't grapple nothing. They're just dull. Okay, and I know some people who smoke weed, and one, he went on to university in the Caribbean, and he is a renowned scientist. He has a special focus, but he still continues to use his weed, and I'm not sure. I mean, look, Satan will give you. I mean, Satan knows truth. He won't come and tell you that 2 and 2 is not 4. All right, but what he's going to tell you is that, like he told Adam and Eve, you don't have to obey God. You're not going to die. You just get smart, and then all these problems we have here today. And so, very subtly, some way, somehow, he's trying to destroy us. And as I said, these kids in school, you could see like they're trying, but they lost their mind. They can't function. And can you imagine when everybody's on drugs and you run in a big business like America, this big superpower, and you put yourself in a lot of problems. So then somebody look down the road and see that, look, we run in a big, important country. We have to ensure that our citizens are going to be healthy, are going to be competent, going to be able to do a job that is required in a superpower. And so when these folks throw away God and say, we don't need to know the stuff, just where to find it. I mean, how they gonna find a place in a superpower? And so you have to resort now to bringing in people from India and China and elsewhere. And then when you're relying on them and dependent on them, then they're gonna bring on these various things that they have back home. And those things are the reasons why they came to America. I mean, yeah, Gupta parents came to work in Michigan in the car industry. But when you look at India, a lot of them would like to get out of India to come to America, but yet they want to bring India into America. And the reason why they're coming here is because America is not India. America doesn't have the culture as India. It doesn't have all those gods. We believed in the one God, and we were Christians. Okay, and so it's unfortunate. We come up with a variety of ways now not to have kids and all this kind of stuff, and then we have to import these people from all over the world, and they tell their children that back home is so good. And they might be outstanding, and the children feel like, yes, this is so good. Over there, they must be smart. And it's undermine this big democracy, this big superpower, this big capitalist nation. I'm repeating it again. Gupta and his marijuana talk should go to hell. And, they are just waiting for various times to come up with the various positions that when you catch yourself, man, this place is going to be so ugly. You're going to want to go where they came from, because it's going to be worse than where they've come from, because they don't have the kind of responsibility in the world. They don't have the type of technology. They don't have the type of arms. They don't have the type of things that you have here. And when we become like these third world countries, it's going to be a sad day. And so, I'm not surprised by Gupta. I never had him in high esteem because, look, as I said, I'm from the British Empire, just India. But, Indian culture, you just got to be careful with Indian stuff. Scholarship is one thing, but when it's going to dovetail with the philosophy, and then you see, the fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom. Not them God that they serve in India. Wisdom, knowledge, and understanding. And so, the wisdom they have is just straight up, use of intellect. What's in the books. They're taking what we've developed here and taking it to another level, or just changing it a little bit, okay, and looking smart. But I'm not sure if significant revolutionary ideas are coming from India, so that the students study hard, and they're going to be showing brilliance in whatever the textbook is about, and they're going to pass in high, and we're going to say, maybe our salvation lies in these people from India. Be careful.